Hello class and Dr. Hagen, my name is Katelin, and along with Eloy and Amalia, we will be presenting Chapter 2, The State and Politics.
Hello. Germany is a parliamentary and federal democracy, and German is one of the main 6 languages in the European Union. There is a constitutional body who is the most seen in the public eye, the German Bundestag, as you can already see. The voters are voting for. They are also elected by citizens eligible to vote every 4 years. The Bundestag are mostly tasked with legislation and to oversee the government's work. There's a system, the coalition government gives a proportional representation for each party. Even the smaller parties are represented in the Bundestag in proportion to their election results. For this reason, with one exception, the federal government has always been formed through an alliance of several parties that had competed against each other in the elections. Since the first Bundestag election in 1949, there have been 24 coalition governments. In 2018, the SPD members vote a coalition agreement was pivotal to unite the federal government with the CDU or CSU, which their combined number have around 1 million party members, as you can already see the meeting of the Bundestag. The Article 21 of the Basic Law states that political parties shall participate in the formation of the political will of the people. The most important buildings for the federal government are housed in Berlin, the beautiful capital you see in the image, like the Reichstag building. The graph that you're seeing right now, the circular one, represent the people who can vote in Germany from the youngest to the oldest. And the one turned out for referendums is the amount of people who can vote. And the biggest helper in all this is social media, who also became increasingly important as a platform for a specific type of political articulation and action, like youngsters getting more interested in the political sphere and voicing their opinion.
A new beginning for Europe, new dynamism for Germany, new coalition for our country is the name of a German government program to strengthen the European Union. In it, Germany wants to provide stability for the European Union and together with France to strengthen the Union and to help the Euro withstand crisis. The goal is that all member countries should benefit from being part of the European Union and to create greater social justice within Europe. One key element for Germany is to limit immigration and to improve the integration of those that are accepted into the country. There is a basic law that assures the right to asylum in Germany, and Germany intends to allow asylum to those who need it. At the same time, they wish that people who have no intention or prospect of staying in Germany long-term leave the country as soon as this becomes an option. As you can see here in this bar graph, the amount of refugees that come to Germany are way higher than any other European country. This graph was made in 2017. Other important goals are to strengthen the support for families who need it, for unemployment, old age, and for people who are educating themselves. It is also mentioned how the government in Germany has ensured a minimum wage in Germany across all sectors. In 2018, it was €8.84 per hour of work, but it will continuously be updated as needed. €9.68 per hour by mid-2022. They have also introduced a quota for women in organizations to create more equality between men and women in businesses. This demands that at least 30% of the supervisory board must be women. And lastly, Germany is working on expanding their infrastructure and transitioning to a use of a more sustainable energy.
For Germans, coming to terms with a history of cruelty and brutality will never be easy, but is a necessary step to ensure that the past must not repeat itself. Teaching its citizens about the injustices faced by Germans at the hands of their own people and honoring the lives that were lost is a responsibility that Germany does not take lightly. As a result, the Holocaust and the Third Reich are mandatory subjects to be learned as part of a general academic curriculum, and most schools make annual field trips to concentration camps or Holocaust museums as part of their lessons. Since the end of the war, hundreds of memorials honoring the lives of the 6 million Jews killed by Nazi forces have been erected. These include the Memorial to the Murdered Jews of Europe in Berlin, which houses 2,711 concrete tomb-like slabs of varying heights. The Stolperstein, or stumbling stones, are a collection of 70,000 brass-like cobblestones on which the names of Jewish citizens who were killed in the Holocaust are inscribed. These stones are placed at the entrances of the last homes where the individual willingly chose to live in before deportation. While Nazi-established institutions, including concentration camps, can still be found today, they serve simply as a reminder to visitors of the cruelty exhibited by those who created them. Remembering the 44 years during which Germany was split into two is equally as important to Germany's culture of remembrance. For nearly half a century, the nation was split in two, each side occupied by rivaling superpowers, those of the East and of the West. Under the Soviets, Germans were denied civil liberties and subject to terrible living standards. An exhibition at the Berlin Hohenschönhausen Memorial, formerly the main political prison for the detention and interrogation of Germans by the Stasi, unveils the repressive and draconian conditions Germans were subjected to for rebelling against the regime. There are some things, however, that are not worthy of remembrance. Following devastating losses in 1945, Adolf Hitler came to the realization that his time was coming to an end. He took his longtime girlfriend Eva Braun, his dogs, and some of his closest associates into a furnished bunker designed specifically for this moment by his architect friend Albert Speer. The group remained in the bunker for several days before committing mass suicide on April 30, 1945. The site of Hitler's final resting place was not unveiled to the public until 2006, when it was finally revealed to have been destroyed and turned into a parking lot. This deliberate erasure was a tactic used by the German government to avoid creating a potential mecca for the Nazi sympathizers and neo-Nazis to congregate in memorializing Hitler's death. It is important to note that there are absolutely no monuments or memorials that celebrate the Nazi Party or any of the 4.3 million German soldiers that died during the Second World War. Denying a legacy to those cruel figures is a significant part in commemorating the lives that they took away.